Hi guys, welcome back to GP Reactions. I hope you're well. I hope you've been having a great day. It is actually still Saturday, so halfway through the weekend. I'm going to try and make the most of tomorrow, even though the weather's pretty darned awful. And meeting a friend for a coffee tomorrow, which would be nice. And yeah, it's the best thing to be doing is just having a nice coffee in a nice warm coffee shop and just looking out at the horrid weather that we've got. We've got some kind of storm. I think it's named Storm Bert that's coming over. Um, but we've had that for like it hasn't been too bad. It's just been very wet and windy, and not too windy either. It's just generally wet, but it's a difference from last week when it was just really really cold, and I think it's about 8 or 9 degrees higher today, which is crazy. Um, so yeah, that's your weather forecast for today, and moving on. But before I do move on to this track, actually, I just want to really thank everybody for getting me to 3,004 subscribers, which I didn't realize until I checked my internet today. I've taken a couple of days off, been doing a couple of things, and I was just like really blown away because I thought we were getting close anyway, but it was just really, really cool to see. And I've only got another 97,000 to go. I mean, I have 100,000. I get one of those little grey plaque things I can put on my wall. Um, but no, it's I'm very, very happy with 3,000, and I'm loving what I'm doing, which is the main thing. And I hope that everybody that has subscribed appreciates that not only am I listening to new music, but I'm also bringing some new music to people that have invested their time in watching this channel, and that means just as much to me. When I was a kid and I heard something new, I would immediately go around to my friends and say, "Hey, listen to this," because I would record it on the little cassette thing with the you have to press the I think you used to have to press the play and record, and I record it on a cassette tape, and then I would then play it back to my friends and say, "What do you think of this?" Is and they would probably just like look at me sometimes, but yeah, yeah, that's what I used to love to do, and so in a way, I'm kind of doing that now. I'm hearing music for the first time, and I'm saying, this is going to be this is a really good, cool song, or this was okay. But also, I know there's people out there that has heard this music before. So, and I love watching people react to music I know very well because I don't know, just kind of like seeing them enjoy it for the first time, and that music sold a million, a million copies, and it was number one for 4 weeks, and to actually watch somebody see that for the first time and for them to say, actually, yeah, it sounds quite special. I can understand, if this was very, very popular. So, yeah, I'm loving what I'm doing on this channel. It's been absolutely fantastic, and long may it continue. I'm trying to be a bit more regular now with my reactions. Quite a lot going on last couple of months. So, yeah, and I just want to thank also people that have donated to buy me a coffee as well, because that really means a lot to me. It just shows that people are appreciating what I'm doing. I can't monetize this channel. Some people do, but then what happens is they'll run into obstacles with every reaction they've probably ever done, and they become under fresh scrutiny, and they'll start to have a lot of stuff drop off their channel, which is a shame. So. I don't monetize it, and whatever advertisements come with the videos, will be 100% to the management companies of the music. So, which I'm quite happy about because I didn't make this music and I don't own it. So, yeah, I just listen to it, which is enough for me. So yeah, big thank you to all of those, and yeah, just thanks for being here and commenting and putting the messages and the comments onto with the suggestions for music and stuff like that. Um, okay, so it's been a long time since I've reacted to a porcupine tree track. Fantastic Stephen Wilson who writes these tracks. So this is a track from their album from 2000, Light Bulb Sun, and this is track 3. It's called Four Chords That Made a Million. It sounds like a commentary on the music industry already. So we have on this track we have obviously Stephen Wilson, multi instrumentalist, vocals. Richard Barbieri on synths and organ. We have Colin Edwin on bass and drum machine. Chris Maitland on drums and backing vocals. And I'm probably going to have to come and react to a few live versions. I did one, can't remember what it was now. It was in Europe, and that was fantastic. So that was about 12 minutes. I think it was called Analyze This or something. Or Anesthesia. I can't remember, but it was a really, really cool song and very proggish, but extremely long. This is a shorter one, and this is just over 3 minutes. So yeah, without further ado, this is Four Chords That Made a Million from Porcupine Tree. Very kind of grungy sound, psychedelic. I'm just going to take that back because it's really interesting start. It kind of reminded me of some other bands that were maybe in the 90s that were getting in on the Britpop psychedelic 60s reboot kind of scene. And yeah, I just heard some. It sounded like, I don't know if there's a specific name for these drums, but it kind of made me have that Indian feel to it. So I'm kind of then thinking Beatles.
Six of one and half a dozen black guitars and plastic blues. Hide behind a wall of nothing, nothing said and nothing new. Four chords that made a million. Four chords that made a million, million, million.
Revolverish sound. I'm sorry to keep pausing. I've just got to tell you that, but I love that transition then. I didn't actually expect that straight away.
that made a million. Four chords that made a million, million, million. Four chords that made a million, million, million. Four chords that made a million, million, million.
That was great. That was Porcupine Tree from the Light Bulb Sun album with four chords that made a million. And yeah, I could actually see what that song was about. I think it was basically about songs that are basically there's nothing. I think it was basically saying that there's nothing new that's being maybe created. Um, it's all kind of like the same formula, and yeah, I think that's what it was saying. I'm going to go straight into lyrics actually. Six of one and half a dozen black guitars and plastic blues hide behind a wall of nothing, nothing said and nothing new. So, I mean, this came out in 2000, so I'm trying to think if there's anything that was. I mean, so I loved some of the music in the 1990s, in the middle section of the 1990s. But yeah, I mean, were the lyrics in the 90s groundbreakingly different? You know, did they take us in directions that, we could, I don't know, maybe call them classics? I can think of loads of songs which are fantastic, but yeah, and I guess, if the music is, and yeah, because the mid 90s were very much a homage back to, bits and pieces of the 60s, and I felt, and um, other times as well. But there was this kind of like Kinks versus the Rolling Stones feel about bands like Blur versus Oasis, and so, and then I guess maybe I can't remember when the Pop Idol started. I think that may have been. No, I'm sure that was in the noughties anyway. So you belong there on the cover. You are the emperor in new clothes. A man who thinks he owns the future will sell your vacuum with his prose. All chords that made a million. And then a moron with a checkbook will take you out to lunch who knows. He will tell you you're a saviour, and then he'll drop you like a stone. I guess that's it because um, it's a corporate business and bands are just made to make money. And a lot of bands don't see very much money. I remember, I think it was I think it was like something like E17 was saying that when they were number one in the charts, they were getting like they were getting £125 a week wages or something. Um, so yeah, you can imagine that once they maybe um lose their image through some form or another, then it's easy to drop them if their sales drop below a certain amount. I imagine it's even worse nowadays because there's computers and algorithms they can use to decide when it's the right time to kick a band into touch or group. So um, all power to independent record producers and labels and stuff. If such things still exist, but yeah, you can imagine that it feels like it's all been done, music, and also I think in a lot of music these days, it's even the lyrics aren't they're quite narrow. There's a very narrow band of lyrics these days with singers and bands um, and I've heard stuff that you can hear the same lyrics from 20 different artists and with the same kind of voice, and it's all the same. It's just it's what we kind of feel about the grey goo taking over. This is a corporate goo of music, because it's awful, to be honest. And um, it's okay for these people to make music, but there's as I found out doing this channel, there's a whole bunch of music that's actually really good. That's um, that's behind the big popular sounds, which is just it's just trash. I mean, and if I guess record labels don't really care what you're singing about as long as they get the bottom line, which is what they make money wise. So yeah, a really cool track. I love this as well. It's just a really I love the way it transitioned earlier on, and the guitars on this. It just kind of felt, and I love the Indian vibe I got with it as well, because when I read Four Chords That Made a Million, I don't know why I was thinking of the Beatles, but I don't know much about music, so um, but yeah, I kind of thought the Beatles, and let's be honest, the Beatles did stuff that felt different at the that would have been at the time when you look around what other bands were doing. They were doing the Beatles were experimenting and everything, and it felt very very different. And you just kind of imagine that later on, people might look back at their music and then be copying it slightly to I don't know, just to kind of put their own twist on it. Um, but thankfully, I mean, I lived through the I suppose 70s and 80s where music evolved differently and there was different genres and you couldn't really say. I mean, I think Tears for Fears are once accused of sounding like the Beatles with "Sowing the Seeds of Love," but I never got that. I never got that. I mean, I could understand the transitions maybe in that song that were, it was on like a grand sort of scale of like, the Beatles might do something, but it was never, it never reminded me of Beatles. And Clarty were I think it was rumored that Clarty were actually the Beatles, but that obviously that was untrue as well. Um, and I never saw that connection either. But yeah, so I, I, I guess I think that music was kind of fairly creative, even though I guess so. I mean, are they saying that four chords are all there are in music? Because again, sorry, disclaimer, I know nothing about music. So, is there only four chords? And is that all you need to make a million with the right formula for writing a record that's going to be you know popular? And as I said in the different other videos, well, I think timing's important with releasing music, but these days it's all the same. It's nonsense. There's very few people that I would find interesting. I think occasionally there are artists that I find really interesting. I think Snoop. I remember being absolutely mesmerized by Snoop Dogg with "Drop It Like It's Hot," um, because there was something odd about that it just it kind of captured me as being I don't know, it just held my attention, and yeah, there was just something really cool about that song as well. So it I don't think everything's like rubbish these days, but I think that there's so much music out there, it's impossible to think of something original, maybe. Um, and occasionally, really good albums are put together with contemporary bands, but whether you would consider it to be new, because everybody, even I do it on this channel, I say, that little bit there, it sounded like the Beatles, it sounded like this, it sounded like that, and it's impossible not to hear into these songs. Um, But anyway, the music on this was fantastic. I'm gonna have to listen to this album because I remember there was a track off this album, and I think it may have been the title track. Actually, I can't remember what track, so it could have been Light Bulb Sun, and it was really really cool. One of my favourites so far. So this is probably what an album that I really want to kind of listen to more because I've forgotten actually exactly what I've listened to from Porcupine Tree. Anyway, you know what? I'm just talking and talking and talking, and you've heard the song, and you're probably saying, "Now, why did you pause that song at this point or that point?" Um, it was I just kind of found it so interesting to listen to, and it was just great to get back to them as well. And I did love the Indian influences, so yeah, it's really, really cool. Anyway, folks, actually, before I go, just take a quick look, see if any comments. Do you know? Oh man, there's only 2 comments on this. Why? Yeah, that's a shame. So yeah, anyway, take good care of yourselves and have a wonderful week. And join me in the comments if you have any thoughts about this track.